All right. This question comes from Peter Marsh. Peter, if you got any more questions, send them my way. Everybody else, also, send them my way. Watch. So he wants to know, it's the beginning of Make Pretend, which is my first short story collection. I talk about writing fantasy stories, creating a fantasy world. And he wants to know what the challenge is of creating a fantasy world, or just writing a story in the real world for me. Great question. Again, I'm a total pantser, so everything's just in my head. I am a Dungeons and Dragons geek. 12 years old, 1982. I got the box set, the original, the pink one, and I played all through my teen years, every chance I got. So I am a total D&D nut. But I am not a huge fan of the magic system. So I would DM games, there was no magic system. And that's kind of the way I write. So it's really just a lot of sword fights and stuff like that. That being said, if I did write, and I did write a lot of fantasy short stories 20 years ago. And so the idea is, back then at least, was to kind of keep a notebook. And if I had magic or I had specific races or towns, whatever, I would just jot them all down. And I created a series called Freehold, and had a lot of recurring characters, stuff like that. I was very, very impressed reading like the Forgotten Realms books, Drizzt and R.A. Salvatore, stuff like that. So kind of modeled stuff that, and also some old Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that I had done back in the day. None of it is great. I do like some of the short stories, which I've shared over time in my, so far, 5 short story collections. You should purchase all of them. But otherwise, I don't sit down and say, I'm going to write a fantasy story, but I got to create this world first. I just kind of start writing the story. And as stuff happens, or maybe I need to do some research, or maybe I need to make something up on the spot, then I'll do that. Same with, writing something in the real world. I'm writing Down and Dirty 4 right now, which is set in Las Vegas. Have you ever been to Las Vegas? Yes, once, years and years and years ago. But I can do research. I can fake my way through it. Google Earth is a lot of fun. You can get lost playing around with that. Walking around the town, wherever you set something. I've done that a few times. So, it's all really, no matter what you're writing, it's just, you just write. Don't ever use it as an excuse. I talk to a lot of writers who are like, oh, I'm creating a science fiction world or a fantasy world or whatever. And so for the last 6 months, I had somebody's like, for the last 2 years, I've been creating maps and creating my magic system and, how much taxes are and this super realistic thing. But guess what you're not doing? Writing the damn story, So who cares? Who cares about maps and all that crap? I've played around with them in the past because of, Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm not going to let any of that stop me from just writing the story. So don't use it as an excuse. I am out of breath. My back hurts, and I am really fat. But I'm wearing my Alpha Flight shirt. All right. If you have a question for me, for any of these, let me know. Armand Rosamilia gmail.com, or leave a comment on my Patreon or YouTube, wherever you see these videos. Thank you very, very much. Thanks, Pete.